Okay, so seen the other videos about Bear and Florence and whatever. So Bear's grown considerably. We're quite a few weeks on now. She's heading towards 2, and she's been pretty much very difficult and hard work. Bear, come. So she's grown considerably when you last saw her, and she's not been particularly an easy dog to look after. At times she's overexcitable, and she's hard to calm down. Once she's set into a sort of mode of excitement, she can't get herself out of it, so she becomes a bit hyper, and that's quite problematic because she can't come down from it very easily. She's not really biting anymore, but when she gets a little bit, she's alright licking, that's fine. But occasionally she will just try and mouth you a little bit, and you know, it's that's still pretty painful. I mean, these dogs have one of the strongest bites of any dog in the world. That's why the police stopped using them, you know, because they were biting criminals and breaking their bones. So that's why the police stopped using these dogs. Her and Florence have just finished their seasons, and before they both came into season, unfortunately it was exactly the same time. So before they came into season, they got at it a little bit, and Bear picked up Florence and gave her a little shake. So we've had a trainer involved with Bear, and I think it's made a difference. I think as she's getting older, it's making a difference, but she can still be very difficult and very hard work at times. You wouldn't believe it, her sitting here. She looks quite calm, doesn't she? Quite, yeah. You're saying hello to people, right? And she can be quite a good girl at times, but there's just the odd occasions when she's a little sod. And she managed to snap her lead. I had a big sort of long extendable lead for it, which she managed to snap through. So now she's on like a proper rock climbing rope. When we go out for walks, it's a proper rock climbing rope, and she's tethered to that. But yes, it's just stimulus. The biggest problem with her is stimulation outside of the house. And what she wants to do is go and play with other dogs and play with other people. She likes children, she likes things like that, any noises. But of course, no one wants this sort of dog lunging after their children. It's a great big 45, 50 kilo dog now, and you know, it's a risk factor. If people feel threatened by dogs today because the law has changed, of course they can report you. So it has to keep her under very good control. And I normally try and avoid where there's too many people. Even with the training and stuff we put in place, she can still get pretty carried away, and she can be pretty powerful on the lead, so that can be problematic. I don't tend to let her off the lead. I have always done my dogs, let them off the lead before. Have done with Florence, but this dog I won't let off the lead, because if she does see someone, she will take off. Hey, where are you going? Come on. She will take off and she will go after them, not in an aggressive manner, but because she wants to go and see them. But of course you can't have this sort of dog lunging at people, so my responsibility there is I've got to take good care of other people around her so that they're safe. And so it does create a bit of an anxiety for me, I have to say, at times. But she loves swimming. She's a pretty good dog. She's a very good guard dog, very protective of the house, very protective of noises around it. Likes to lay around all day and sleep, and typical Rottweiler, happy to lay around and sleep and guard the house. And but yeah, she can be a real pest. I'm hoping it will settle a bit more as she gets a little bit older, but there's no guarantee of that. The problem with her and Florence, we'll have to see how that goes. If the worst comes to the worst, Bear would have to get rehomed if they're both aggressive towards each other, because keeping them separated is an absolute nightmare in the house. It has to be managed, so in night times we have to have one dog on one side of the sofa, one on the other, with humans in between them, keeping them separated. So that's what we're managing with at the moment until things settle a little bit. Getting them both spayed may be a good idea, but later on when they're both old enough. It's too soon at the moment to get Bear spayed and Florence, but once they get a bit older, maybe if we remove the season part of it, it will help the hormones a little bit, but there's no guarantee of that either. But yep, she can be a fun dog. She can be a very loving dog. She will come and sit with you, and she's very clumsy because she's so heavy. She doesn't understand how heavy she is. Hey, where are you going? Hey, I'm talking about you. Come back. You can't keep wondering if I'm talking about you. I might say bad things about you behind your back. Hey, you got a broken ear. So yeah, she's pretty clumsy, and she'll throw her head back, and if it hits you in the nose or the face, it really hurts. And it's all chunky, this head and everything. She's a chunky girl, so, but not as big as some Rottweilers, obviously, but she's big enough for us. So yeah, Rottweiler. I personally wouldn't recommend a Rottweiler for any families. I would go with Labradors. Rottweilers are definitely much more harder work if you're not used to them. They really do require a hell of a lot more input because they're pretty intelligent and they like to chew a lot of things. So she's got a lot of bones and things she likes to chew on. You can see her mouth is like open now. She's wishing to put my limbs in her mouth. It's just how she is. But she'll give me a lick, which is good. That's part of the training. You know, good girl is to accept that, you know, a lick and not the mouthing part of it. Ouch. Now she's give me a lick in return for doing that. There we go. Licking is fine. You can lick. So that's the nice thing. She's opened her mouth up on me like that. Then she should give you a kiss back to say she's sorry, because she's getting excited because I'm sitting here and I keep calling her back. So there's my makeup lick. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Better than your mouth, isn't it? So you can see when she's wound, it wouldn't take much to wind her up. A couple of little jogs around the kitchen or something, she'd be wound, and it'd be hard to get her off that when she's wound up. But she's a good girl, but she can get overstimulated really, really quickly. Once she's overstimulated, she is done. She is just an absolute nightmare, and it can be 4 or 5 hours before she comes down from that stimulation, before she settles. So that's really problematic. Stay down. Stay down. No coming up. So you can see when she's that little 2 or 3 week old puppy, she's still got some of that behaviour left, because she's still only very young. She's still a puppy. She's still wishing to open her mouth, and you can see with her behaviour, she's wishing to latch on and to play. But her form of play is not soft play. It is painful. This is one of the most powerful jaws, as I say, in a dog you can get. You don't want this latching onto your arms at any point, because it bloody hurts. And I can assure you it hurts. So when she has got a bit carried away, she has latched on a little bit too hard. But we might try some man trailing. Maybe something we'll go and do, get her active. And we keep trying to give her jobs to do. So we're trying to give her work, so she could work in strain, obviously. So we're trying to give her work to do. Sit. Good girl. Get her a biscuit. And biscuit. Sit. Good girl. There you go. You don't like the old biscuits, do you? Prefer a bit of sausage? But you can't have too much sausage. So that's a way of an update anyway. Hopefully she'll settle a bit more. Definitely don't recommend the dog. If you want an easy dog, go with a Labrador. I would not have this dog in it if my kids were young. Both my kids are adults now, so it's no problem. But if my children were younger, this dog would be an absolute nightmare with children. I definitely would not have this dog with kids. I'm sure there's people out there who have got children with Rottweilers, and I'm sure they're good. But this particular dog with its temperament, I wouldn't want it near children. They can be slightly problematic. Only her. Maybe the others are okay, but this one can be a bit more harder work. She's yeah, she can switch very quickly, and I think with children running around, that would just wind her up non-stop. She would just be 10 times worse. So we're all adults here. Well, people may debate if I am, but we're all adults here, and you know, it makes a difference, I think. But with children here, it would just be an absolute headache. Anyway, take care, folks.